My story started in the year 2000, and that year I turned 40, and then that summer we found out that we were pregnant with our fourth child. It was 11 years after the last one, and a couple years after a certain surgery, so we were totally shocked, but also delighted because it was like this was not a goof or a slip up, this was an act of God. But then exactly 6 weeks after that happened, my husband had a heart attack while he was working out at the Y, and he actually died at the Y, but they revived him. And then they got him in the ambulance and he died again, and they revived him again, and then took him to the hospital and he died in the emergency room, and one more time they revived him. The thought then was like, well, you get a good cardiologist and we'll have some work. I thought everything was going to be all right. But that night, as I sat beside him, I was praying and I was asking God to talk to me, to give me a word. And what I really had wanted to hear was, he's going to be fine, or it's going to be okay, or something like that. But no, the message instead I got was trust. Trust, what is that supposed to mean? And I didn't like that because that sounded scary, like I was going to have to lean on him and trust in him because things weren't going to go the way I had planned. I did have to trust because they were not able to bring him out of the coma, and then they checked on him to find out what was going on, and he was completely brain dead. What should have begun a season of trust actually ended up being a season of anger for me because I didn't want to trust God. I really had this illusion that we were supposed to have this protected life. Even though I was angry at God, I still kept going to church because I really felt like my kids needed to be there. During that time, I was seeing Pastor Randy and getting help counseling from him, and one time he said to me, "Karen, your problem is that Leo was your anchor. You need a new anchor." I came up with a prayer that I could handle, and that was, help me to want you. And that's how I started. And it came, it happened. I started feeling a desire in my heart. I started wanting him. There was one verse that helped me through that time, Psalm 27:13. I would have despaired had I not believed I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to see that goodness. About a year later, Pastor Randy asked me if I would be willing to lead a grief support group. So I've been leading Grief Share off and on since then, and although it's incredibly tough, there's others that have walked the road and they're there to help you along the path. It's really amazing. This month is the 17th anniversary of Leo's death, and we were married for 17 years, so it's a pretty significant time for me. Looking back, I'm amazed at what the Lord has done in our lives, and I love my life. I love my home, and I love my kids. I love my work, all my friends, my church. He's given me so much. He's given me such a full life. I'm so grateful to him. And I know that things can still happen. I realize that and I get that, but I know who holds the future, and I put my hope in him.